Gallaudet University, Washington, D.C., the world's only university entirely for deaf and hard of hearing students. One of its extraordinary graduates, Leah Katz-Hernandez, has already set foot in the White House. Leah has some pretty big aspirations, and not just for herself. We blitzed our way through Washington, D.C. with Leah. She's an up-and-coming star on the political scene.
What I want for people with disabilities is for them to have a high self-esteem and to believe in themselves, and to believe they can succeed no matter where they go. And that it's important to work hard and to surround yourself with a lot of people who support and believe in you.
Tell me about your time here at the White House.
I started working at the White House as an intern in the Office of Public Engagement. I started in fall of 2010, and I worked as an intern for a full semester. While I was interning, I did a lot of different things. I focused specifically on outreach. At the Office of Public Engagement, it's like the White House front door to the public.
Was there anybody that you met that you found really interesting or inspiring in the White House?
I was very inspired by meeting both President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. I remember clearly meeting Michelle, and she spoke to us as interns, and she said, "As you rise, pull others up." And since then, I've always tried to live by those words. I also want to change people's perspectives of what people think about me and what a deaf person can do in politics today.
Leah majored in the arts before realizing what she really wanted to do, improve the lives of disabled Americans.
Now is the right time to get involved with politics for people with disabilities. Things didn't used to be as accessible as they are today, but now that things are becoming more accessible with new media and technology, along with the internet, social media sites, now is the right time to get involved. People with disabilities can get involved with politics and make a big impact for themselves as well as other people. That's why I want to get involved.
Leah wasn't always so outgoing. Gallaudet, the world's only university for deaf, helped her grow in confidence.
When I think about when I first came into Gallaudet, I think about how young and naive I was and how I had no idea what was in store for me. But now, being at Gallaudet, it's home.
Graduating from Gallaudet isn't just about finding a job, it's a leap into the hearing world.
So, you know, Leah, I'm not really concerned about finding a job once I graduate. I really have faith and believe strongly that I'm going to get something, and at least I hope I do. But I would say that I do have a concern once I find that place and I want to work with a large group is what will communication be like? So if I'm in a large group, what type of accessibility will I have access to? I obviously need to communicate with the supervisor, my boss, others on the team. And so how is all that going to work? There's a lot of different communication needs, and I'm wondering if you have any advice on that, because that would be a concern.
Oh, sure. First of all, both of us are very fortunate living in today's age. With the ADA, they're required to provide accessibility. But you can be creative, too. Be creative within your field. So with me, where I work, of course, I work with a lot of non-deaf individuals, and I'm very creative on how I communicate with them. I communicate through instant messaging, emailing, writing back and forth, even gesturing. And one of the things that I've noticed as I'm working closely with individuals, over time, you become accustomed to each other, you become more comfortable with your communication style, you just know what it is that you want to say without an interpreter.
Think towards the future. I think I'd like something with a large corporation. I've been in the creative field for quite some while, and I'm very involved in the whole field of media as it ties into business and marketing, and that's really all tied together now. So I like something in a large corporation where I have the experience with a very large team working on something.
So we'll look through the different options that we have, and I'm happy, of course, to help you. Talk to the different corporations, see what might be available to you.
Oh, that's very good. And so keep in touch and let me know, and I would definitely like to look at that, and I really look forward to working with you in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
In New Zealand, 60% of people with disabilities are unemployed. With good accessibility laws in America, Leah's confident all the grads here will find work.
Well, there are a lot of people out there who are not educated. They don't know the laws, they don't know the accessibility laws, and it is a law that they have to provide accessibility to interns, to employees. It's required by law here in America. And the problem is that people need to now learn how to request for that accessibility. So we need to learn to understand what the laws are, the employers need to learn that, and the employees need to be able to ask for that accessibility. And people need to be educated. It needs to become the norm.
Seems amazing that Gallaudet is 150 years old, but still the only university for deaf and hard of hearing in the world. Do you not think there should be more?
Well, Gallaudet is very much unique, and we all treasure it. It is something we value very much. But I definitely do believe that there should be other places where deaf and hard of hearing people can get direct communication and direct access to education. So maybe a school on each continent, especially in those areas where you have a high population of deaf and hard of hearing people. We need higher education institutes for those individuals to support them in their aspirations.
Leah's a great example of what's possible. She arms students with confidence. Tell me why it is that you want to come back and talk to the students here.
Really, I just want to encourage the students to have the same experiences and opportunities that I did with an internship. Internship was a valuable, wonderful experience for me, and I want them to have that same rich experience. When I first started here at Gallaudet, I was young and naive. I had really no idea what was in store for me, and I'm sure many of you felt the same way coming into Gallaudet for the first time, right? You just didn't know what the experience was going to be like, and now that you've had it, it's such a unique and special experience. It's difficult to express. The communication, the lack of barriers because of everyone using a visual language, it really is so very unique and special. So you need to know now is your future. And Gallaudet understands what opportunities you need. Once you've graduated from Gallaudet, you need to have your resume. So now when we go into the workforce, are they ready for us? And I want to make sure that, yes, in fact, they are ready for us, that the ADA generation, so to speak. We've had all these wonderful experiences, and when we transition into the work world, are they ready for us? And that's what my position really focuses on at AAPD.
Gallaudet opened in 1864 and remains the only university of its kind, with students from all over the world. What sort of confidence has it given you going to Gallaudet?
Oh, definitely. There's no question about that. I feel so much more confident from all that I gleaned here at Gallaudet, the Gallaudet experience, if you will. It's given me quite a bit of confidence to be able to go anywhere in the world that I want to. I believe that I can do anything and achieve anything that I want to.
Gallaudet's welcoming of new ideas. From Leah's experience in the wider world, she can see the benefit of opening the university to other students.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, good to see you.
Great, come on, sit down.
All right.
Yes. How is everything with you, Leah? How are you doing, and what's your experience like? You're in a totally different environment, so share some news with me.
I've been working, I worked at the White House internship. It was crazy, but it was such a rich experience, really wonderful. You know, it is different. It's nice that I was able to focus on the deaf community when I had my deaf boss, but now I have a hearing boss, and so we do a lot of communication through instant messaging and email, so it is a very different experience. You've worked under a hearing individual before, right?
Yeah, compared with you, I only had 2 years, so very limited. But getting back to some of the things that you're doing, are you working with all different types of people with disabilities? We might be able to find some way to work together. We are increasing in terms of the numbers of students we have with additional disabilities.
Oh, that would be perfect. I would love to work with you again. Right now, I'm working with Disabilities Youth Transitions Fellow, that's my position, so I work with individuals transitioning into more independent careers. We're also working on another project that's for higher education individuals with disabilities, getting them involved in higher education, so it's throughout the United States with all universities and colleges, so I think it ties in directly to the project that you're talking about.
Leah flats with 3 others on the trendy east side of Washington.
When I'm at work, I tend to be very focused. I meet a lot of people. I've got my high energy really working when I'm at work. When I arrive home, it's nice to be able to relax. I like to come home, sit on the couch, check emails, Facebook, Twitter, and talk to friends all over the nation, and make plans for the evening, go out and have a good time.
This area is really nice. We have plenty of deaf people in this area. I get to see a lot of friends around, especially college students in the neighborhood or recent graduates. And so where there's plenty of people to get together with, and I have a good time. So I like living here.
The bars and cafes of Washington, D.C. are savvy. Many people here use American Sign Language.
We have 4 different ideas for fundraising for Deaf Youth USA. We have ice skating, a dinner party / potluck, an art show with individuals that are deaf artwork, and a Christmas zombie costume party. We're discussing ideas for possible fundraisers for profit and nonprofit agency called Deaf Youth USA. It's a nonprofit group for deaf individuals in America between the ages of 18 and 35. And it's basically a place for people to get together, be active, get involved, advocate, and really just have fun as well. It's a great opportunity for people to meet each other. So we're discussing ideas for a holiday fundraiser. And I do this because I enjoy it. I don't do it because it's work to me. It's more fun to be able to be involved, and I feel that it's really important to kind of spread that feeling of why we do, why we are advocates and why activism is important and why it's important for youth.
It seems to me you never stop. Do you ever feel that you're having to work harder than others to get to where you want to go?
I do. I feel like I have to work twice as hard as other people may have to, especially people who don't have disabilities, because I feel that I need to prove myself. So, in a way I do, but I look at it this way, I'm learning twice as much. The biggest barrier that society has is that people have ideas of what they think normal is. They try to enforce these ideas on other people, and they should be embracing people for who they are, regardless of their differences.
Leah grew up with a deaf mum and a hearing dad. She's always felt accepted. It's only since she started working in politics that she's realised much of society is yet to see the benefit of a diverse world.
The differences that people have provide new opportunities, innovation. There are more opportunities for people. For example, I'm deaf. I don't speak, but still I'm successful. It's a great example of having differences, and those differences can lead to new things. Society should learn to accept people as who they are and with their differences. At work, I don't use interpreters all the time for all situations, but I have interpreters during meetings or one-on-one communication. When the staff gets together, we'll hire an interpreter for me. But for the most part, I use instant messenger, email, or different modes of communication to talk with my staff.
The American Association of People with Disabilities has huge political clout and is widely respected. Can you tell me about how you're supported here at work to be able for the place to be accessible for you to do what you need to do?
Working at the American Association with People with Disabilities is a great treat. Everybody is so diverse in here, and we have different backgrounds or different disabilities. So it's a different interaction for working here. Everybody's very understanding of everybody with their own disabilities. Everybody has great attitudes. People are willing to accommodate each other. And I've never had any problems working here with people or their attitudes. Everybody's so willing to work with each other, no matter what our differences are.
So Leah, what are some of the projects you're working on at the moment? What's your big focus here?
My biggest focus currently is in the Greater Washington Internship Coalition, and we focus on about 30 different internships and fellowships, as well as apprenticeship programs, and that's in the local area of Washington, D.C., and also the neighboring areas.
Most of Leah's team has picked up some sign language.
You ready?
Her boss, Michael, is fluent. At times, he's the office interpreter.
Okay, so just really fast, I wanted to talk about your meeting with Gallaudet, how that went, and then maybe talk a little bit about how we can connect with Gallaudet for the higher education project. I went to see the Dean of Student Affairs, and we were talking, and it was really interesting how Gallaudet University wants more students, wants additional students with disabilities other than just deafness. And he said he wanted to make sure that Gallaudet was providing the right experience, accessibility to the university, and I said, perfect, so we can connect you to the higher education project, so we need to set up another meeting with him. And we may want to talk about how when everyone has the same disability on a campus, you realize that it's not the disability that's the barrier to education. Really, the barrier is communication or not being able to get into your class. So when everyone knows ASL, when everyone is signing there, then all of a sudden it's like person who isn't deaf, who doesn't sign, that's the person with a disability. So it's really, might be an interesting perspective to take.
I think also the big challenge at Gallaudet is preparing students for when they get out of that environment, for when they want to go into internship programs and employment, and what Gallaudet does there, because that's going to be one of the bigger issues that they're going to face, one of the bigger barriers.
Yeah, and I see that a lot with HBCUs, historically black colleges. A lot of times people get so entrenched in a specific culture, and then they leave that environment and realize it's like a culture shock to come out of that and realize, and I've seen that with a lot of Gallaudet deaf students and RIT, because they leave that environment and then all of a sudden it's like, what do you mean I have to request an interpreter?
Right.
You know, how do I request an interpreter? How do I do a presentation with an interpreter? All of those things are like, I don't know. So it'd be interesting to see how the students react to that too. I guess the first question is, who we need to contact to set up, you know, this kind of thing at Gallaudet. One of the things that I've noticed about Leah is she's one of the best communicators I've ever met, and one of the best networkers.
So what are the barriers for Leah doing the work that she does?
Probably one of the biggest barriers that Leah faces as a deaf person working is the ability to be able to communicate with people as often as she wants to. So sometimes, for example, when the internet gets busy here, her video phone doesn't work. So then she can't make the phone calls that she needs to make. Another example is we go to a meeting together and we find out that there's no interpreter when we were expecting an interpreter, and therefore she's not able to communicate with the folks that she wanted to. And you know, even the cost of interpreters sometimes can be a barrier, because you try to set up a meeting, you want to set up a meeting, but then you can't because you're like, well, there's a cost involved and that sort of thing. So you have to keep that in mind. So those kinds of barriers mostly come in because, you know, people don't know sign language, they're not able to communicate with her, or she's not able to communicate with them.
I think you said to me that you don't need speech for success. But how do you make yourself heard?
There's several ways to get noticed. Ironically, one of those ways is by not speaking. You stand out a lot more. People recognize you. They know that you're unique. They see that I'm deaf and that I communicate with sign language. So that makes me stand out from the crowd. So it's ironic by how I'm not speaking, I'm actually standing out even more.
And how realistic do you think it is for somebody who is deaf to be able to reach a position where they are really making a difference?
I actually believe it's a reality. I think that if a person's deaf or has another disability, I believe they'll be able to succeed. And it's important for that person to be able to accept that. It's very powerful, and it's more impactful to change one's attitude.
Really, I don't go through many difficult situations in the hearing world. I'm so used to the interaction. I've grown up all my life in the hearing world, and it's more of like an escape. It's kind of a nice break from the hearing world when I'm with my deaf friends, but when I am in the hearing world, everything is the same.
Those are gorgeous flowers. Are they from right down there?
have a warm friendship with many of my hearing peers. There's really no second figure that I have to go through when talking with a deaf person. When I talk with a hearing person, I either need to use the computer, write back and forth, or use an interpreter, but when my friends know sign language, it's really just makes the communication direct.
Do you actually see yourself as disabled?
As deaf people, we used to kind of resist that label of being disabled because we think of being disabled as something that you're not able to do. So of course we would resist that mentality that I can't do something. But since I've met a lot of really great disability leaders, I felt really inspired, and I kind of realized that having the label of having a disability still means that I can do something, but that I have something that's different about me, and that I can do whatever I want. And so it's kind of nice to embrace that. It's a really great label to have.